So here's the thing about the information that you may receive. It's information. It's not necessarily the truth, but it's likely their truth, if they're honest. All right, next question. How do you ask someone what they truly think of you? This has got two questions. That's the first one. And how do you cope if the answer isn't favorable? Woohoo! Okay. How do you ask someone what they truly think of you? Wait for it. I know this is going to sound revolutionary. Can we get a fucking drum roll, please? Ask them. Do you want the actual words? I can give you a couple of examples. Ask them. So maybe what you need to do first is go, what's in the way? Well, it's probably going to be fear. I'm terrified of what they might say. So that's preventing you, because you know in asking this question how painfully fucking simple the answer is. Just ask them. Now the actual words, you can put some consideration into that, of course. But remember, anytime you're going to ask something challenging, vulnerable, courageous, there's also a possibility that you're not going to hear what you want to hear, or you're going to hear something that you don't want to hear, i.e. something that isn't favourable, as this question is asked. So keep in mind that when you're asking people for feedback, which is something I highly recommend, by the way, it's something that I get all of my coaching guys to do, and if you're someone who's like, fuck that, then that's worth exploring. Why are you so afraid of? Because there's who you think you are, and clearly there's potentially this difference in who people think you are or how people experience you. That gap, there's trouble in there. That's going to cause a big fucking mess in your life, okay? Worth exploring. So, hey, you know what? I'm doing some reflection on myself. I'm wanting to build my self-awareness and understand myself a lot more. I would love to ask you for some feedback. And generally, what I'm wanting to know is what you actually think of me. I would love for you, if you're willing, to give me some full spectrum feedback on how you experience me. Honest, open, strengths, weaknesses, however you want to label it, feedback. Could you do that for me? Could you support me with this? Could you help me with this? Choose your words. Generally, people want to help people that they care about, so put that word in there. That will help. Now, here's a key point. That's a hard thing for a lot of people to do. It's a bit of vulnerability to ask that. You're also asking other people to be vulnerable in sharing with you. A lot of people won't want to share what they honestly think. They're fucking terrified of being judged by you. Maybe you've already proven to them that you're a shitty receiver of feedback, because maybe you get defensive. Maybe you make excuses. Maybe you push back. Maybe you fucking throw barbs. Well, that's something worth reflecting on. So there's their shit and potentially your shit. So you've got to reflect on that as well. So what I suggest is that you make it very clear to them that in receiving this feedback, you will not make excuses, that you will not get defensive, that you will not say anything apart from gratitude and thanks for them doing so. They need to feel safe. Just like you are potentially not feeling safe, there's a bit of fear in asking them, you've got to recognize that that's potentially going on for them too. So make them feel safe. How do you cope if the answer isn't favorable? So here's the thing about the information that you may receive. It's information. It's not necessarily the truth, but it's likely their truth, if they're honest. So there's an important distinction. It's not necessarily the truth, it's their truth, but there's likely some truth in it. So the first thing is to choose to get curious about what you hear and take it on board as information that you then get to reflect on. This is the practice of building a thick skin. Am I going to take all this personally? I remember the first time I received some feedback from someone that I asked, and they gave me some feedback around like essentially how I kind of deal with and handle money. And I looked at that and I reflected on it. And then in my assessment, I was able to understand that even though there is some truth in this, actually that's speaking more to this person's beliefs and issues around money. So it takes reflecting on it. Is this the truth? Is there some truth in it? Is it their truth? Now, if it isn't favorable, go back, have a conversation about it. As much as I dislike this point here, I really love to learn more about it. Now, the other point might be ask someone else. Get feedback from someone else who knows you well. See if there's commonalities. Put that point to them. But you can see here that's requiring you to have a thick skin and not make things mean so much, but take on the mode of the curious observer, the adventurer, the explorer who wants to understand more, not the person ready to be hurt by something immediately. So, back to the simple question, how do you ask someone what they truly think of you? Just fucking ask. Don't overthink it. If it feels uncomfortable, that's the example. Oh, I need to step towards that thing right there. Fucking step towards it. The only way you're going to grow and learn more about yourself is stepping into that stuff. But you've got to brace yourself that you're not going to take it personally, you're not going to get defensive, you're not going to make excuses, and you're not going to make it something bigger than it is. It's information. Keep in mind, that's you managing your shit. Someone might bring their shit into that as well. Okay? Hope that helps. If you got some feedback for me, share it in the comments.